We're looking forward to this first race of the day at Goodwood, and it is the professional jump jockeys race, run over 2 miles on the level. The Alderbrook handicap. He was quite a good horse, wasn't he?
He was. I think he did win here, but I think it would have been over 7 furlongs or something like that for Julie Cecil. That's my memory stretching back.
More remembered for the exploits over Timber in the mid-90s. It was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Did he win the Lennox or something like that,
Did
or
he?
if I dreamt that up?
Maybe.
He was very good on the flat, and then obviously went to Kimberley and was a superstar.
Went to something else, didn't he? Anyway, jump jockeys assembled for this first race of the day, and they're headed up by Agripart, who's an 11-to-1 shot. As the crawler comes back around, we'll confirm what the betting looks like, and it is Polish who is the market leader at 4-to-1 now. Noted 15-to-2 yesterday. He's got a career profile of 3 from 23, but as we noted in the parade ring, off since May. Fergal O'Brien, you've said, has done particularly well, obviously over jumps, but on the flat as well. How strong are the claims for Polish?
Yeah, he can do no wrong, Fergal O'Brien. He had a winner at York yesterday on the flat with Gumball. That was his 7th from, I think, 16 since the start of July, and his daughter Fern has ridden a few of those winners. But Polish, who's got Conor Brace in the saddle, who rides regularly for Fergal O'Brien, he, for me, is going to find this a bit sharp. He is a really strong stayer. He wants 3 miles over hurdles, and I just don't see this being... But you can never rule out Fergal O'Brien in this form, and he has got high-level ability. He's rated 137 over hurdles. So, yeah, I can see it, but I wouldn't have him favourite, personally.
Now, I think we both agree that we liked Cochise ahead of this one. Dangerous, obviously, to go in together on the first race, but we'll see. But I'm not surprised Alpine Stroll has been popular enough to be second favourite as we speak. We are talking about a horse who's looking to win at the 12th attempt, but as you said, maybe having to come back to this sort of form. But if recapturing some of that early summer form makes this horse a player. Yeah,
Cochise will probably be up there, if not making the running, and Alpine Stroll is another that I would imagine will be very prominent, if not making the running. Maiden in 11 starts, as you say, but did go very close over 1.5 miles on soft ground in June. Now it's going to be soft again this afternoon. He has got to bounce back from those disappointing efforts, certainly at York last time over 2 miles. That was his first try, but if he's back to his form of the summer on this soft ground, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I really hope that for the Sheena West connections and everyone involved who've paid 42,000 guineas, which is not a small amount of money at all, for Cochise, that they've picked up a horse they can have a bit of fun with, because we knew the ability for Roger Charlton, we've known the ability for a horse that's seriously well bred, Biantello out of Ship's Biscuit. Certainly handles softer ground and certainly stays, which is 2 ticks in the box today.
I think those 2 things are going to be what decides who wins this race, staying and handling the soft ground, and Cochise does both of those. And the other thing I think is, in any race virtually, it's track position, and I would imagine that Cochise will be up the pace, and I think that's the best place to be, because I don't think they're going to go hugely fast. And if you go back to that first run for Sheena West, I thought it was a nice kind of pipe opener, first run for the stable, set a steady-ish gallop at Kempton over 2 miles on the all-weather, and just wasn't quick enough in the finish, but will improve for that run, I thought.
Now, I noted prices down yesterday, and listen, I don't know how much we're talking to shift a horse from 25-to-1 into 9-to-1 for a professional jump jockeys race at Goodwood on a Sunday, but I'm intrigued to see that there has been money for Manucci, who wouldn't have necessarily shown anything obvious recently, but there is enough in the back form to suggest could be competitive. Josh Moore aboard, who knows a thing or two about riding in this race.
Yeah, and Gary Moore knows a thing or two about training winners at Goodwood as well.
Yes.
But Manucci, I think the thing that's going to decide his fate is whether he settles. He was very keen last time when he was well beaten at Lingfield on the all-weather, but like you say, if you go back for the form for Amanda Perrott, it's got good form on soft grounds, one on the flat and over hurdles on soft ground. So if he can settle, then, yeah, there's certainly possibilities.
And what about the horses next to him? One of the old boys in the race, and indeed Josh's brother Jamie. They're in conversation today. Jamie's aboard Agripart, who needs no introduction, certainly when it comes to the exploits of being a hurdler. Brilliant hurdler, Cleve hurdle winner, Relkeel hurdle winner, Betfair hurdle winner, but the common theme is when others hate the ground, he loves it.
Yeah, we were mentioning that this drizzle that we've got at Goodwood this afternoon wasn't forecast, and we were moaning, but we were expecting a nice day. Well, Agripart would absolutely love it. In fact, he would want it to rain a lot more, because soft ground is what he wants, but really he wants heavy ground, and he almost wants unraceable ground. And he won after a breathing operation in March at Kelstow. Well, he needed all of 3 mile 2 to win that day. He then went up to a Grade 1 at Punchestown and then over to France. But the thing is, he might just not be quick enough, even over 2 miles on soft ground.
I should say, if this race was run this day last week, Ed Arkle, clerk of the course here, reporting that they had pretty much 80 mil of rain in a 5-day period up to Tuesday, so that would have been ideal for him if it had been this time last week, but it's been drier since. But obviously that rain has left its mark. And Agripart heads them, one of the 10-year-olds in the race, around about an 11-12 to 1 shot.
Clear favourite here.
Very much, Mark. Yep, Polish heads them, and Fergal O'Brien winning a staying handicap on the flat yesterday at York. I know that Steve's a Cochise fan, but we're also not surprised there's been money for Alpine Stroll. As they load, you've just been talking on extra. Summarise the thoughts.
Yeah, and Polish is favourite. I think that's a lot to do with the form of the stable for Fergal O'Brien, but Polish has got a high level of ability over hurdles, rated 137. I just think he's a really strong stayer, and he might just not be quick enough. But if he can get a good position, he will be staying on. There's no doubt about that. And
with Alpine Stroll, maybe forgivable recently, but for a horse who's still a maiden, some of that early summer form would put the horse bang in the reckoning.
Yeah, it went very close at Salisbury over 1.5 miles, and that was in soft ground, so that's a big tick in the ground box. Alpine Stroll does need to bounce back to that sort of form. Hasn't been quite a long way below it the last twice, but if that's the case, then yeah.
All right, and is the ground soft enough for Agripart?
No, he needs it heavy / unraceable, and he needed all of 3 miles 2 to win at Kelso back in the spring after a breathing operation. Look, he was rated 161 over hurdles at his peak, and he won the Cleve Hurdle in 2018, so he's got a lot of class, but I just don't see him being quick enough. OK, I should say as well, Ed Arkle reporting that there was almost 80 mil of rain in a 5-day period up to last Tuesday, but it's been a little bit more settled since then. I think it's meant to be, well, it's forecast to be fine and dry today. We haven't quite got that, but I think it is expected to be dry for the rest of the afternoon. Soros is going to need extra assistance to go forward. Manucci should report as well. It's been backed from overnight prices a fair bit bigger, so we'll see how that one goes for the Jump Jockeys race, which gets us going, the Alderbrook Handicap. Anthony Ennis to call them home at Goodwood.
Thank you, Nick. Soros is the one we're working on, and he is now in. So the last one is going to be Fort Nelson and Charlie Deutsch. About to complete the line. And Fort Nelson is in. We are ready. 2 miles. And they're off for our first race on the season finale here at Goodwood. This is the C. Lewis Worldwide Alderbrook Handicap Stakes. And Tralee Hills was the slowest to stride. Up there early is Manucci in yellow colours. Also Tin Fandango is handy as well in the orange colours. Wider outs of those is Cochise in the red and blue stripes. Also up there towards the inside is Alpine Stroll, the black cap. Soros is up there as well in the pink with the silver cap. And just behind those, another one that's handy is Be My Sea in white and purple silks. Then a gap of a couple of lengths to San Pedro, maroon and white colours. Fort Nelson is a bit deeper out, but will be now towards the running rail and is being followed by Zillion, who has a red cap. Further back to find the grey, which is Sayo. Behind Sayo then is Catfish Row. Then a length or so back to Tralee Hills with Arabian King in the red and green. And then Agripart in the purple and yellow colours. And towards the back is the well-fancied Polish, who's being held up by Connor Brace at the rear as they climb towards that top loop. They're about to turn now, right-handed, and begin this long run back towards us. And the leader towards the inside, Cochise, narrowly in front to Tin Fandango, the orange colours racing in second. Be My Sea is up there in third. Soros in fourth. Manucci is in fifth place. And then comes Alpine Stroll with the black cap, racing ahead of Fort Nelson, who's ahead of San Pedro. And then comes Zillion. Behind Zillion is the grey Sayo, and then Agripart, Tralee Hills. Polish now on the move, has passed a couple, in fact. Towards the back of the field now, Arabian King, as they climb and race down the far side. And up front, Still there, Arabian King towards the back of the field. He's being held up in last position, Arabian King, as the white face of Kachis leads them narrowly. He's got quite warm beforehand, Kachis, but he leads Be My Sea by about a head at the moment. These two are ahead of, in third place, Alpine Stroll. Tin Fandango's in fourth with the cheek pieces, orange colours, and then comes Soros, the silver cap. He's ahead of Zillion. Behind Zillion on the inside, Manucci in the yellow colours. Polish continues to improve. Out a bit wider for Conor Brace in the pink colours with the purple stars. Agripard is also very wide. Behind those, Tralee Hills, the green and yellow colours. And then the dark blue and yellow of Catfish Row. Towards the inside is Fort Nelson. And then still being held up with the noseband Arabian King. He's towards the back of the field with Sayo, the grey with the cheek pieces. He's towards the running rail. They now begin to emerge in view of the stands, and they're still climbing. And they're heading now for the final 6 furlongs of their journey in the C. Lewis Worldwide Alderbrook Handicap Stakes for the professional jump jockeys. And up front, in the centre, Be My Sea against the rails. Still there is Cochise, the red and blue horse with the white face. Now polishes into third and getting ever closer in the hands of Conor Brace, travelling quite stylishly. Towards the extreme outside them, we have Zillion, the red cap, and then Tin Fandango in the orange as they now descend towards the home straight proper and head for the final half mile. Kachis by a neck to the outside, Be My Sea. Polish now asks for more in third in the centre of the track. Towards the far side, Manucci is trying to get into it. Then Tin Fandango. Tralee Hills is making up some ground, the green and yellow colours. On the extreme outside, we have Zillion. So up front, Be My Sea with Kachis. Polish has not picked up. Tin Fandango is running on. Then comes Manucci, still looking for an out from Soros as they head down now inside the two. Quite a few chances. Be My Sea, Polish to the outside. Still there is Tin Fandango, Tralee Hills and Kachis. These 5 up front as they head down for the final furlong. Polish is now running on again for Conor Brace. Down the outside, he's picked up the lead to Tin Fandango. Then comes Kachis. Tralee Hills still running on out wider. Polish in front with 100 yards to go from Tin Fandango in the orange colours. Polish and Tin Fandango. Polish is all out, very gamely held on to beat Tin Fandango. Third was Tralee Hills, close for fourth between Kachis and Be My Sea, but Polish has won it for Conor Brace and Fergal O'Brien.
He has, and he's picked up the Alderbrook handicap, gutsing it out in the rain and the first at Goodwood. As we hand back to the studio and Tom Ball. Well, actually, the way that the race was finishing for these jump jockeys, one of those door-staying events, it was more reminiscent of some of the races they're going to be riding in throughout the winter. It is testing out there, and the rain that I said to you beforehand isn't promised. Well, it's come down during the race, shows what I know. But Polish it was, who had to guts it out, as Anthony said in commentary, when he came to look like he was going to be a threat, maybe backed off ever so slightly, but he's got plenty of heart and he's got the job done.
And he's got plenty of stamina, and that's what you're going to need today because the ground looks really testing. And he's a 3-mile hurdler. He's got a good level of ability. He's rated 137 over hurdles. And Fergal O'Brien cannot do anything wrong. He had a winner on the flat yesterday, the Gumball up at York, and Polish has got the job done here, seeing the trip out really well, as you would expect of a horse that has won over 3 miles over hurdles. And
probably the indicator we want for the level of ground we're talking about is that, as you said, Polish wants 3 miles and then some. The second, Tin Fandango, won in bottomless conditions last time. You were saying it wasn't much of a race. It didn't look to be, but the horse has still run pretty well, given the rise and the absence.
And I think the reason he's run well is because he's handled the ground better than a lot of the others, and he had that in the book. And he's probably taken a fair step forward there, and so they can keep going with him to the end of the season, certainly, and be hoping for a